72 hours after the names were recommended, I think we have sent a message that the Collegium is vibrant, active, and committed to its task. I have, in the tradition which I have set in the past few weeks, a small couplet for each of them. Well, I accept with gratitude the credit which has been given to me for the appointment of these two distinguished judges of the Supreme Court. But I will accept the accolade on behalf of all those who are part of the process, which includes all my colleagues, not just in the Collegium, but beyond, because in all the appointments which we have made, we have extensively consulted all the judges of the Supreme Court. So everyone who comes to the Supreme Court and has come to the Supreme Court in the recent past commands the respect and the affection and the sense of belonging of all the judges of the Supreme Court. We must also accept the fact that the government is a stakeholder in the process. And in these appointments which have come through in less than 72 hours after the names were recommended, I think we have sent a message that the Collegium is vibrant, active, and committed to its task. Well, these two brothers who come to the bench bring together with them a tradition of continuity and a freshness of ideas. Members of the bar who come to the bench bring a freshness of ideas. They have been deeply associated with the legal profession until a short while ago. Members who come from the district judiciary to the High Court and from the High Courts to the Supreme Court, on the other hand, bring a tradition of continuity. Both are equally important for the survival of the institution. Sometimes people like me I spent 16 years as a judge of the High Court before I was elevated to the Supreme Court. In so many ways, you become a part of the system. And the constant challenge for people who have been judges for so long is not to get overwhelmed by being part of the system for so long. Members of the bar, on the other hand, who come to hold high judicial office, have the drive, they have the initiative, because they have seen face to face the realities of life right up to the point of time when they were appointed. Speaking about Brother Prashant Kumar Mishra, he belongs to Raigad. Not Raigad in Maharashtra, as I would have wished him to belong, but Raigad in Chhattisgarh, which is known as the cultural city of Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh itself has almost a 32% tribal population, as brother was sharing with me, and Raigad is in so many ways its tribal seat. Brother Prashant Kumar Mishra studied in a municipal primary school. So he began his life with very humble origins, which is again a reminder of the fact that the judges who come to the Supreme Court are deeply connected with social reality in India. He thereafter studied in government colleges. He has been the first judge of Chhattisgarh to be elevated from, the first judge of the Supreme Court to be elevated from the Chhattisgarh High Court. So in that sense, Brother Prashant Kumar Mishra represents the yearning of a comparatively new state, because of course our nation has a long history. And in that sense, he reflects the aspirations of the younger generation, of the members of the legal profession, who can aspire to follow in his footsteps. So his appointment must not be just looked at from the perspective of the success of a professional who has risen to occupy the office of a judge of the highest court of the land, but in terms of laying in his footprints the formula for success for others who will follow in his path. He was appointed in 2009 and has had a long career of 14 years. 14 years is a very long period of time for a judge to hold judicial office, because you do everything in a repetitive manner, and it is so easy to become jaded by doing the same things over and over again. But he has never become jaded. And one thing which I must notice about him, which all of you have already noticed, because the bar works out judges as quickly as ever, is that his smile never leaves him, whether in or off the court. As the Chief Justice of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, he commanded the respect of the members of the bar. He was credited with solving numerous problems of the employees of the High Court, which showed his human face in that court. So in that sense, he comes with a track record which speaks for itself, and I'm sure that he will contribute in so many ways to the great tradition of the Supreme Court of India. About Justice Viswanathan, I don't know whether I should introduce him as the father of Suvarna, because really speaking, I should be introducing him as the father of Suvarna, because anybody who watched this brilliant Arangetram recital by her, she's the disciple of Guru Saroja Vaidyanathan, and anyone who watched that danced performance a few days ago will truly want to introduce him as the father of Suvarna. But I'm sure he'll be a proud father if I say that, and as I say that. Justice Viswanathan has been an ideal and a mentor to young members of the bar. His life and his journey in so many which ways is again an ideal, because it shows that someone who came from afar, from Coimbatore and Ooty, to set up practice in faraway Delhi in those days. You must realize that that was not 2023, but the days when he came, can yet come to a different city, a different cultural tradition, a different legal profession, and yet succeed in the profession by dint of hard work. But above all, I think he has contributed to building a team of young lawyers. The value of a leader is always judged not just in terms of the work which the leader does, but in terms of building a team which he leaves behind after him, after he has left that part of the chapter of life, in his case, the chapter of being a senior counsel. And it is this ability of Justice Viswanathan, and I dare say Justice Narasimha also, our two distinguished members drawn from the bar, that really sets them apart in terms of what they have left behind in the bar, of the young band of lawyers whom they have trained and who will now carry on the baton which they have given over. But for Justice Viswanathan, looking at him personally, I think that his image as a lawyer indicates that being brash and ostentatious are not the hallmarks for success in the Supreme Court bar. If at all, he is the very antithesis of being brash and ostentatious, so understated in his elegance and so simple in his approach, and yet so successful. He has been amicus curiae in so many different cases. He has been associated with academic areas of law, which shows that he has interest apart from just his daily briefs. He has had the strength of character to stand by the court when there have been attacks on our independence. Looking at Justice Viswanathan's arguments, as I would reflect having left the court, I would find that Justice Viswanathan's arguments were always in layers. The first layer of his arguments or submissions in the court was the immediate, the facts. He had to do justice to his client. That was the first layer at which he addressed the court. The second layer at which Justice Viswanathan addressed the court was the anticipated. The first, as I said, was the immediate. The second was the anticipated. The anticipated from the bench, the anticipated from his opponents. But the third, and that's what really sets him apart, is the vision and the ability to go beyond either the immediate or the anticipated into what is his vision of the case. And that vision he left for you as a judge to evolve. He never imposed upon your mind. He gave you the seeds of the vision and allowed you to develop that vision. And I think that, to my mind, I observed him in so many different cases appearing before us, whether it was a constitutional issue, whether it was under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, some issue in criminal jurisprudence. And these were really his hallmarks. Well, we are here to hear both the learned judges, so I'll not keep you any further from listening to them. But I have, in the tradition which I have set in the past few weeks, a small couplet for each of them. For Justice Prashant Kumar Mishra, I have a couplet from Andalip Shadani, who says, देर लगी आने में तुमको, देर लगी आने में तुमको, शुक्र है फिर भी आए तो, देर लगी आने में तुमको, शुक्र है फिर भी आए तो, आस ने दिल का साथ न छोड़ा, वैसे हम घबराए तो. Now for Justice Viswanathan, I'll quote from Wasim Barelvi when he says, तुम आ गए हो तो कुछ चांदनी सी बातें हों, तुम आ गए हो तो कुछ चांदनी सी बातें हों, जमीन पे चांद कहाँ रोज रोज उतरता है. Namaskar, and thank you very much for giving me this honor.